It was probably somewhere between when I was still at the film office, because I started to feel differently around that time, So didn't really think much of it.
The journey started, I guess, about 3 years ago, and it was a very stressful situation. Because Bill's baseline was slowly changing, and as his wife, I knew what his baseline was, and there were things starting to happen that were of great concern.
We understood what some of the problems were, and like my wife would say that, you're acting funny or something, or you're slurring your speech or something like that. So there were these little bitty things that we didn't pay much attention to.
He was losing things a lot. He was very chaotic. His vocabulary, he was having a hard time getting out words. And he, in essence, his personality started to change in ways that I knew something was wrong.
But again, we didn't have any idea what was happening. We just thought, wow, what's going on,
I thought perhaps there was some depression due to his job change from the Film Commission. And anyway, we started testing, and we did MRI. We did neuropsychological testing, which is very in-depth and it takes about 2 days. From there, the first testing didn't really yield any true results.
There was a guy at Emory. He was the guy that showed me what was happening in my brain. And he said, here's where you were at such and such a time, and here you are now at another time. And he said, well, your brain is shrinking.
The second set of tests came in, and they luckily had a baseline to check from one MRI to another within a year, and they showed atrophy, much more atrophy than what they would consider to be normal for Bill's age.
They told us that I had Alzheimer's. So that's how we got to that place. And of course, there's no cure for this, and unless somebody can come up with one pretty quick,
Once I found out, and it's not this easy or simplistic, but once I did find out that it was Alzheimer's, it was like somebody hit me with a baseball bat. But at the same time, I finally had an answer. I had a name for what was attacking my husband's brain and making him change so much.
At that point, you can't do much about it, unless something good really happens that hasn't been done yet. So, yeah, we were bummed about it, but not for long.
He's very, very dependent on me, and in a sense, I guess I'm dependent on him as well, because I want to make sure he gets the best care. And it's really hard for me to think about myself when I know that he's ill.
I have a pretty good feeling about myself right now. I know I've got some issues that are in my head somewhere, but I feel in general, I don't feel too bad. But occasionally I get something in my head that goes, zzz, there's like a little, and that's some weird shit. But I think I've got a few more years to go.
With Alzheimer's, your you really have to go into their world, because the whole way of thinking and processing is completely different, the way that we would process. So they're not going to change. You have to change.
I don't like it, obviously, but again, it happens to all people differently. I mean, you never really know. Like, you can tell that I have trouble speaking. That's one thing. I don't seem to have any physical stuff that bothers me. I mean, I can walk around and I can, I'm pretty cool with that. But it's I don't know what's going to happen next.
I think it gave him some relief to know that to have an answer finally from the doctors after 2 years, to know what was causing the change. Because I think that his mind was jumbling, and he didn't know what was wrong with him. So that, I think it was a lot of fear. There was a lot of fear during 2013.
I'm probably past the anger part, but occasionally I get pissed. I'm just trying to make it work.
Bill, in a sense, has over the last couple of years, emotionally, it's very difficult for him to process, and there's almost like a block in some of those emotions. That he doesn't have those anymore. His behavior has changed in that way. So in that sense, he could also almost be. It makes it a little bit easier for him. Okay. That emotion or that processing of, a tragedy or heartache, or he's not able to fully process like you and I. So I think Bill is padded by that.
My wife and I, we've sort of, settled to know what's coming. So because of that, we've kind of like freed ourselves, sort of, because you can't fix it yet. It can't be fixed unless something that hasn't come along can come along, So because we feel like we've freed ourselves from to just let it go. It's going to be what it's going to be, And I'd like to live another, 20, 30 years or something like that. That would be cool. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
I would say the hardest part for me is with your partner and somebody that you love so much, you lose that banner. You lose that ability to understand each other and to be able to openly communicate and negotiate and do all the things that people, when they're married or you love someone, that you do. You have open discussions about things, and is that there's a tremendous sense of responsibility that I'm in charge of this from beginning to end, and I've lost that partnering part of Bill.
Well, Nena's 5 years younger than me, so she's going to be she'll be there, She'll be there. I might not be.
I don't dwell a lot on the morose subject of Alzheimer's, and the earlier you get it, unlike when you're in your 70s or your 80s, your lifespan is not going to be that long. So while he's with me, we're going to keep him as happy. I'm going to try to do everything I can within my resources, financially, emotionally, spiritually, anything I can, to give him everything he needs so that he can stay that way.
If she went before me, it'd be a bad scene for me. I mean, I couldn't even survive without her.
I have moments where I have to focus and think about where this is going to take us, and that's a lot to try to digest, but I don't have all the answers. But I cry, and I think, what a wonderful man he is, and that's going to be taken from him. It's going to, at some point, this disease will ravage his brain. So while I have him and while we have him, I want him to live life as full as he can.
I know what I believe to be coming, and I think I know what the outcome will be. And thank God my wife is with me, and she doesn't have any problems like this. she's cool.
What I try to do daily is instill a sense of safety and protection for him, and make sure that he knows that he's loved. Just tell him all the time, so that he does feel secure and safe. And I tend to yield him from any of the stresses that this disease is causing in our lives.
Nena is a real rock for me, and she's just a wonderful woman, and she does everything for me. I mean, she's a fantastic woman, and we've been together for 20 years. So she's fantastic, man. I couldn't do anything without her.
He calls you his rock.
Yeah. Does he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bill, he took care of me for a long time. He's always taken care of me. He loves me. I love him. Tables sometimes have to turn. He's always been my guy. I've never loved anybody more. But I need to take care of him now.
So I don't know what the outcome's going to be for me. Unless there's some crazy, some kind of cure that may or may not be out there. I know what the possibilities can be, and a lot of them are not going to be good. We have put ourselves in a place where we're cool. We're not gonna freak out. We're gonna take what comes, and we're gonna make the best of it, till the end. So that's kind of how we're taking it. We're gonna take what comes, whatever it is.
Was that dine in or take out?
Drive through. You knew it was coming the whole way up here. Yeah, I'm thinking about